His 3 youngest children gather for warmth in the living room surrounded by space heaters after an ongoing battle with the homeowners to fix a broken heater. Navarrete Hernández, his pregnant wife and children took refuge in Denver 10 years ago and fled a homeless shelter in the Bay Area, where they lived when unable to keep up with rising rents. They went to Florida, where they started a family, but stopped in Denver so Navarrete Hernández could earn enough money for the rest of the trip. They never went. "I feel bad because I know other people are in this situation," the 37-year-old said. Avarette Hernandez represents the growing number of Denverites facing eviction as rent and house prices explode. Even some residents who lead a good life told the Denver Post that they're experiencing paychecks trying to keep up with housing costs. Still, others who have the means to work in Denver say packed up and moved elsewhere because they felt the amount paid to live here was no longer worth it. The anecdotes reflect research data, says Phyllis Resnick, executive director and economist at Colorado State University's Colorado Futures Center who studies economic, fiscal and public policy issues in the state. In January, Denver County eviction applications hit a 4-year high of 1,101 for the month, doubling the total number of evictions in January 2022, according to Community Economic Defense Project data. In the past 12 years, Denver rents have more than doubled, from $853 a month in July 2011 to $1,783 a month late last year. Meanwhile, wages did not rise. The cost of housing has grown at a rate that far exceeds earnings growth, and so there is conclusive evidence from the economic data that things are getting harder in terms of affordability, Resnick said. Between August 2015 and August 2022, the average hourly wage in Colorado rose 27%, from $27 to $34.71, according to housing affordability research from Colorado's Common Sense Institute. However, the number of working hours required to meet Colorado's median mortgage payment increased 89% over the same time period, from 40 hours to 75 hours. According to the Colorado State Office of Demographics, fewer people are moving to Colorado than in decades. Still, more people are coming to Colorado than leaving, but the state's net immigration, the difference between those two numbers, has dropped significantly to 15,477 in 2021. The state had Colorado's weakest net immigration numbers since 2005. The Colorado Futures Center tracks immigration and has found increasing confusion in and outside Denver, particularly in areas of the city that are vulnerable to economic pressures, said Jennifer Newcomer, the organization's director research. This region has benefited from fairly robust net in-migration, and these numbers seem to be slowing down, Resnick said. "We may not be the booming growth city we have been for the past 30 years. This can continue and we can turn into a more stable growth situation. People will start making decisions with their feet." The Post interviewed people from Denver who were or are on the verge of being priced in. Some moved to Mile High City with dreams of a fun, active lifestyle in a recreational powerhouse, but have been hampered by the ever-rising housing costs that forced them to leave Colorado. Others, who were born and raised in Denver, said they could no longer afford to live in the community that raised them and was pushed into their outskirts. Melissa Mejía serves as Director of State and Local Policy at the Community Economic Defense Project, which helps support Coloradans facing evictions. None of the people she grew up with on Denver's north side could afford to buy a house in the neighborhood, she said. "Most people who grew up here no longer live here," says Mejía Born and raised but can't afford to buy. While Nate Mitchell's classmates at George Washington High School in Denver wanted to leave Colorado for greener pastures, now 25-year-old Mitchell has always dreamed of rooting himself in the city he loves. He wanted to grow old in his own home with his family. When he got a job as a certified arborist and started saving money, Mitchell thought he and his dog trainer wife were ready to make that dream come true. "We felt like we couldn't control how we could budget our living situation," Mitchell said. "Instead of throwing money on rent, we decided to build equity." The couple hunted for nearly 2 years during the pandemic, looking for a Denver location in the $350,000 range. It turned out pretty quickly in the process that a house at this price wasn't an option for us, Mitchell said. I never wanted a big house. Just wanted live in the area where I grew up and learned that had to get paid a lot more do so. Making nearly $70,000 a year, Mitchell was mocked by his boss and co-workers for believing he could afford to live in Denver. No one can do it, he said. I just thought it was interesting. Nobody at my workplace makes enough money to live in Denver, but we work in Denver every day, Mitchell said. Resnick of the Colorado Futures Center said it's important to pay attention to whether a city's workers can live where they work. There is limit to having well-functioning economy if people of all the profiles you need for healthy labor market can't afford to live in region, he said. If we don't have enough people to work in the service jobs we rely on every day, things start to become a challenge at some point. The arborist and his wife settled in a $350,000 town in Aurora. While not far from Denver, the message Mitchell got from his home buying experience that there was no target audience for the city he born and raised in. It was a difficult pill for Tom to swallow. It was a hard pill for Tom swallow. I hope we can come back one day, Mitchell said. When Andy Whiskey moved to Denver 3 years ago, she thought it was pretty affordable. Whiskey hoped to find somewhere cheaper than his California homeland. As her hopes rose, she also did her cleaning. No, thank you, I said. Unable to stomach the rent hike, Whiskey priced in other states where she and her boyfriend could move to $170,000.